of 2022. Welcome, come on in. There's plenty of good seating still available. Okay, good morning. Thank you for joining us for this Shotsuki Hoyo service for June 5th of 2022. We got a room that's about 30 feet long. I'm losing my mask when I come back so you can understand me. We are, as I had mentioned, going to ring the Kansho bell announcing the beginning of the service. This being our Shotsuki Hoyo service, when I come back, the first thing I'll do is to read the names of the people we know, friends and family who passed in the month of June. We will then chant the Sanbutsuge, sing Hotoke sama, say the golden chain, and then I will have some remarks. So please excuse me as I go to ring the calling bell. Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namada Butsu, Namida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namada Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Well, excuse me for removing the mask, and I will now read the names on our Shotsuki Hoyo list for the month of June. If you lost someone in the month of June whose name is not on our list, please let us know, and we will be happy to add that name. There is no charge for doing this. Our June Shotsuki Hoyo list, the people to whom we dedicate this service. Aoki Takuma, Doi Rikiso, Fujitaki Mitsuko, Fuo Takashi, Goto Tamiko, Hamada Ito, Hamada Shusaku, Hamano Saka, Hatate Alfred Isamu, Hayama Asayo, Hayashi Yasusuke, Higashiyama Shokichi, Hiramoto Frank Keizo, Hirashima Kiku, Hisayasu Bruce Katsuichi, Ito Shigeo, Kanebayashi Komura, Kakizoe Tsuruko, Kaede Saka, Kikawa Shoji, Kikawa Yoshie, Kobayashi Fusuyo, Kobuke Kanekichi, Masumoto Mayo, Matsuba Douglas Yoshihiro, Matsumoto Isematsu, Miyahara Henry, Mori Nobuo Muraki Soyo, Nagayama Kamino, Nakamoto Mosaku, Nakanishi George Shigeo, Noda Kazumatsu, Nori Nobu, Ogawa Hiroyuki, Ogawa Junsaburo, Oshita Isaburo, Oyama Toshimi, Ropyakuda Hiroko, Sakai Noboru, Sakai Noboru, Sakida Kiichi, Sano Yoshie, Shimoda Tomeichi, Shimomae Takeji, Shoda Motojiro, Sugasawara Misao, Sugita Matsuji, Takahashi Atoru, Takai Taju, Takenouchi Shotsuchi, Tanaka Kinai, Tarumoto Hatsuye, Terada Mitsue, Tokinobu Italo, Tsukida Hironori, Umeta Noboru, Wakasa Iwao, Yamada Kunikichi, Yamamoto Hisayo, Yamashita Setsu, Yokoyama Isao, Yoneda Narumi John. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida Butsu. I will ask you then to join me in the chanting of the Sanbutsuge. If you're working from the OCBC service book, be Romanized on page 33. Busatsu Daimuryo Jukyo Sanbutsuge Kogen Gigi Ijin Mugoku Nyode Enmyo Muyo Tosha Nichigatmani Shuko Enyo Kaishtonpe Yunyaku Jumoku Nyorai Yogen Chothe Murin Shongaku Daion Koryu Jippo Kaimon Shojin Tammai Chie Itoku Muryo Shusho Keiyu Jintai Dennen Shobuten Hokai Gujin Jinno Kungon Gaitai Mumyo Yokunu Teson Yomu Ninno Shi Jintoku Muryo Kukun Kodai Chie Jinmyo Komyo Iso Shindo Daisen Ganga Sabuten Daisho Kado Shoji Mihu Gedaten Fute Joi Kainin Shojin Yode Sammai Chie Ijo Gothe Tokubuten Fugyo Shigan Ithai Kuku Isadayon Keshiu Buten Hyakuten Nokuman Muryo Daisho Shunyon Goja Kuyo Isai Shito Shobuten Funyo Gudo Kensho Hungyaku Hinyon Goja Shobuten Sekai Bufu Kage Mushu Setendo Komyo Shisho Tenshi Shokoku Nyode Shojin Ijin Nanryo Ryogata Buten Kokudo Daichi Goshu Kimyo Dojo Chozetten Kokunyo Nayon Nimu Toso Gato Aimin Dodaten Isai Jippo Laisho Shinnetten Shoujo Ito Gakoku Keiraku Annon Kobuten Shinmyo Zega Shinsho Hotsugan no Hirikisho Shoyoku Jippo Teison Chie Muge Joryo Shison Chiga Shingyo Keiryo Shinshi Shoku Dokuchu Gagyo Shojin Ninju Fuke Namandabu namandabu, 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 namandabu. Ganniya shikudoku, byodo sei ithai, do monai shin ojo an rakoku. Namanda, Buddhamanda, Namanda, 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 Buddhamanda. Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Now, if we were in the temple building, we'd ask you to stand for this, but not here. It's rather awkward. So we will ask you to join us in the singing of the Gatha, Hotoke Sama, and that will be followed by the reading of the devotional piece, Golden Chain. So the Gatha Hotoke Sama is found in the book. It's on page 116. And we'll go on a count of three, and I hope you'll jump in strongly with me. We're just going to do the first two verses, the Japanese verses. Hotoke Sama. Okay, on a count of three, 1 and 2. No, 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 sama, hotoke sama, watashi no suki na ka-sama no omune no yo ni yanwari to takarete mitai hotoke sama. No, 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 sama, hotoke sama, watashi no suki na to sama no otete no yo ni shikari to tsugate mitai hotoke sama. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. And we'll move backward in the book to page 8 for the Golden Chain. This was written by Mrs. Hunt. On a count 3, we'll go again, 1 and 2 and a. I am a link in Amida's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. May I be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. May I think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida Butsu. Well, it's time for me to deliver a Dharma message, and I shall do so. I will thank you again for attending this service. We have 10 people here. That's the most in a long time. I think we had one service in the last 3 years with more people than that. So we'll be back in full flow within the month, but we're still here in the annex waiting for the completion of the repairs on our temple building after having stripped it of termites and also asbestos. Now this was our Shotsuki Hoyo service for the month of June, and as usual, I'm relying on Alan Goto to record, preserve, and distribute this. Kathy Kumagai will help him with that. I'm sorry if you lost someone in the month of June. Our service is dedicated to the names of those I read earlier who did pass in the month of June. I lost my most long-lived relative in about 5 generations in the month of June. My Aunt Katie Gibbs Hayes passed away back in 2019 at the age of 101. In the preceding summer in 2018, we lost a good friend of ours, Alice Sumida, at the age of 102. Those 2 lives were, like all life, impermanent. They're gone now. But those lives remained impermanent for a long time. Their lives too were flux, but it was kind of a slow flux compared to you and I, compared to what we've seen in most of our friends. I hope you all have relatives and friends, and you too live past your 100th year. However, if you do, you will discover that it still saddens you to lose them, even though they had that advanced age, reached that advanced age. You still miss them when they're gone. I was saddened by the passing of my 101-year-old Aunt Katie in the year 2019. When we saw her in 2018, every 20 seconds she would say, "Where do you live now?" And we'd say, "Pasadena." And say, "Oh, where do you live now?" That's a typical kind of Alzheimer's thing. And you know, it's funny that I have consistently had no trouble with this because I don't have to live with these people, right? They're nice people. They're slipping in some ways. I'm slipping in some ways. So I can be very tolerant, you know, because I don't have to live with the people day in and day out. But I thought it was just charming. She kept asking me. And I kept trying to find a different way to pronounce Pasadena. Pasadena, Pasadena. Yeah, it's okay. It was okay. I still miss her, even though that was the conversation we had last time we spoke. It saddens me to bury my family and friends who are past 100. Even them, even the ones who reach 100, it saddens me when they pass. Now, during these last 3 years, while we've had restrictions on gatherings, I'm still doing funerals for people who passed away 2-3 years ago. I have 2 of them coming up, one in San Diego and one here. And so during this period of several years where we've only met when we can and when we need to, 2 of my colleagues lost their sons, their adult sons. Yeah. They both lost their sons to cancer, to rapidly advancing cancers. Now, to bury your son when he's only in his 40s and when he leaves a widow and young children must be a very sad thing to do. Very sad. Now, as we know, there are people in Texas and in the Ukraine and other places who are burying their children who are 10, 9, 8 years old. You know, this has got to stop. There are many angles to approach violence in our world, many angles to approach decreasing it. If you believe legislation is needed to decrease the proliferation of semi-automatic weapons, then you should get busy contacting your representatives, your congressmen and senators, to get that done. And if you don't believe in more restrictive legislation on firearms, then work to make mental health services more widely available. Work to make wages more fair and equitable. Do something. The Buddha did not prescribe a particular type of political system or social structure. And Buddhism has existed in just basically every kind of government you can name. Strangely enough, as people like Ernest Kanza point out, strangely enough, dogmatic Marxists had trouble with us. We can get along with them. So we've had trouble in China and in Russia. But we are still persevering. The Buddhist tradition still is one of those 3 big religions that's all over the planet, trying to help people, trying to stop the harm. The Buddha did not prescribe a particular kind of social or political system, and we've existed in pretty much all of them. So how do we stop all the harm that's being done? How do we act to end this increasing violence in our society? We don't all have the same opinions about how to help. As Buddhists, we must refrain from violence. We must also refrain from violently asserting our opinions against differing opinions. The Buddha did teach nonviolence, ahimsa, non-harming. Don't harm others, don't harm yourself. This is our guidance. We Buddhists have opinions, each of us. We each have a reading of the lay of the causes and conditions that we feel are correct readings of those conditions as to what we should do or should not do. It's important to view the exacerbation of violence in our societies. It's important to act as we see proper to decrease this violence. It is also important not to excessively or continuously hold on to anger at those who have contrary views. Allow me to read a passage from the Anguttara Nikaya, early layer of the Buddhist teachings. It says there's three kinds of people. It's talking about getting irritated with the way things are. There's three kinds of people. The first are those who are like letters carved in rock. They easily give way to anger and retain their angry thoughts for a long time. Some of us are like carving our anger in rock. The second are those who are like letters written in the sand. They give way to anger also, but their anger and their thoughts quickly pass. And the third kind of person is like letters written in running water. They do not retain their passing thoughts. They do not let abuse or uncomfortable gossip pass noticed. They let it pass unnoticed. Their minds are always pure and undisturbed. So those are three kinds. The kind that it's just like, whatever you feel, this irritate me, like writing in water, it's gone, it's gone. I'm like the second guy. I write in sand. It stays for a while. I can read it for a while, and then it blows away. But I don't carve it in rock, and we must not carve our angers and irritations in rock, because they will burden us. They will continue to burden us. I can't be like the truly wise, whose opinions and irritations dissolve almost immediately, like words that are written on water. But I don't have to be like the guy whose opinions and irritations are carved in stone either. We can express our heartfelt opinions and advocate for our cherished views while it is like we were writing in the sand. It'll be there for a while. We can build on our views on social and political events. We can build our views on social and political events as if we were building sand castles. Charming, perhaps beautiful, perhaps even impressive sand castles, but they won't be there next week. They will be washed away eventually. Sand castles, writings in the sand, our opinions, our attitudes, our proclivities, our values. Our views are important. Our opinions matter. And yet, they are like sand castles. They will be swept away by future events. All of our striving is for temporary gains. Our most important accomplishments are like sand castles we build. The most important truths we have to share are still just like scribblings in the sand. They are temporary insights, provisional assessments, relative discernments. If I could travel back in time to March 11th, 2011, to Japan, to the beach in Sendai about 2 p.m., I might write in the sand, find higher ground, right? I might write that. Somebody might read it. One or two people might be saved by that act, right? I can't travel in time, though. I can't do that. But that's an example of which even writing in the sand, it could have helped somebody. If the right person had done that at the right time, find higher ground. If they somehow had some intuition, it's time to get up. Find higher ground now. A couple more people might have survived in Sendai. Most of you know that I have a connection to that event, and that my book was being published at the time, and the only copy that had been proofread, they sent me, the publisher sent me a picture of all these papers on the hillside in Sendai and said, well, there's your book. So I had to start, I had the hard copy, but no proofreading. So I had my one friend, I couldn't drive my other friends through it again. So my one friend, Charlie Nemi, and I did the proofreading for the second time, and we finally did get it published. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't anything anybody could do to save my book, and there wasn't anything anybody did do to save many of those people, but I wish I could have. I wish I could have written on the sand, find higher ground now. Might have helped. But a few minutes after I wrote it, it would have become useless. It would have been washed away by the ocean. I can't time travel, and I can't save tsunami victims. You can discourage violence, and we can honor the victims of violence. Help the victims of violence and their families when and where you can. Remember them in any case. I had thought this morning of perhaps reading the names of the 21 victims of the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas. But I couldn't get through reading 21 names. Too much. It's too sad. It's too recent. I can't keep up with the names of all the dead children. I'd be here all day reading the names of the dead children who've been murdered in the last year. or who have been the victims of collateral damage, of invasions and warfare. We've already read the names of our friends and family who passed in June. Let me mention one more name, Iran Moreno Balveda. He didn't die in June or in Texas. Iran Moreno Balveda was a 13-year-old straight-A student living in the house at Mountain and Raymond Streets, who was killed by a stray bullet. We still don't know what happened. Two guys shooting at each other, some guy shooting off the gun. No knowledge. The family has had to bury him. He's been gone now for 8 months. They don't know why. Straight A student, finished his homework for the night, doing video games, sitting in his bedroom. Bullet comes through the window and kills him. Should not have happened. These things must not continue to happen. We must find a way to stop this. I will not forget Iran Moreno Balveda. Balvaneda. Iran Moreno Balvaneda. I am sorry for his loss. Random violence can be eliminated. This sort of thing does not need to happen. Take action. Do something. Sure, whatever we do will only help a bit for a while, but it's only decent to try to do something. And the least we can do is to remember the names of the victims. So besides our friends on the Shotsuki Hoyo list, I just put this one name out there today, Iran Moreno Balvaneda. May his family somehow find peace and comfort. May all the victims of violence on this planet find peace and comfort. May each of us build beautiful sand castles, carve salvific messages into the sand. May all living beings be healthy and happy. May no harm come to us. May we live in peace. On that note, I will close the Dharma message portion of the service with Kansho. Some of us will say the Buddha's name a few times. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you so much. We are to the closing remarks, announcements portion of our service. And the first thing I'll announce is that next week we're going to have a little service in here again, and we're going to acknowledge the 3 graduates we know of. You have to tell us. But so far we have heard that Douglas Edano, Leah Meza, Douglas Edano graduated college, Leah Meza graduated high school, and Michael Powers graduated college, we heard. So those, High school, oh, we just finished high school. Well, that's reassuring. Because I look at his picture up there and it looks, okay, well, good, yeah. So 2 high school graduates and 1 college graduate we will acknowledge next week at our service. And we hope to see you here again. We're going to be in the annex for at least another week, for a week up to a month. We got our work crew does take Sunday off, but they'll be back in here tomorrow. And they got about 10 days to 2 weeks worth of work to get the building put back together. Albeit that our SOGs, our Sons of Gardeners group, is going to do a lot of the work after they do the painting. So again, I just want you to know there will be a service next Sunday. Be here in the garden classroom. As usual, I will teach Tai Chi Tuesday and Thursday at 1. That's all I want to announce at this time. Anybody else have an announcement they'd like to make? Anything we're forgetting? And keep your eyes on our website. We're going to celebrate Obon on July 16th and 17th, the middle of next month. But it's going to be pre-registration. So look at our website, because we're going to have to try to keep the number of people down. You know, we want to protect all of you. We don't want to endanger you by putting 20 of your friends next to you. We'd rather keep 3 of your friends in the room with you and not endanger as much. So it will be a pre-registration, but we'll see you in the middle of next month for Obon. We'll see you here next Sunday. I think that's all we need to announce. So thank you all for coming. Thanks for those who help with the service. Thanks to Ellen Goto and Kathy Kumagai every week doing this for us. And I will lead a closing gassho if I may. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. Thank you.